Hello. Recording. This is my fitness ball making sounds. It's my first time at the sat down desk because I have a standing desk and normally I just work from sofa. It's interesting because growing up, all I knew as my space was a bed. I'm gonna take this incense down. So we would live in a small cubicle with my parents. And even earlier than that, when I was living with my mom, her brothers, I don't know how many people were in just one space. And so growing up as my space, I would have bed. So I would do my homework in bed, I would sleep in bed, I would eat in bed, and it was bed, bed, bed. And I remember even when I was in my long-term relationship, like he would bring things into bed for me, my coffee, my croissant in the morning. And I was like an animal, bed bound, and I could spend the whole day in bed. I remember I would wake up late on my days off, and I would just lounge in bed, scroll my phone or whatever. And I remember when I first started my self-discovery, self-exploration journey, and when I started engaging in more things to do, I realized how being in bed was holding me back, because I would want to do all those things in the morning and I wanted to be in bed. And I had to train myself out of bed, which is like bizarre experience if you think about it logically. But I had to train myself out of bed like an animal, right? Domesticated animal, training myself out of bed. And sitting at the desk, right, also, is like, I just want to be in bed, I want to be on the sofa. It's comfortable, but at the same time, this is where I get sluggish. If I stay in bed in the morning, more often than not, my day ends up being very sluggish, and then I'm tired and lazy, cravings, like you name it, all sorts. It's like it's a spiral. And yeah, it's interesting, this journey from bed into sitting at the desk and still having to go over this mental block of I don't even know what sitting at the desk means. It just, I think it feels like, oh, it's tiring, I have to do work, whatever. But I've realized also that I thought that sitting on a sofa was like, I'm still doing things, I'm productive, but it's not the same energy. So now I'm training myself to sit at the desk, because I realized that standing for a prolonged period of time is also like doing a focused work while standing. For me, it's not working. So sitting down, that's that's interesting how the conversation started by the fact that I'm just sitting down and remembering how I had to train myself into being productive, being active, having my morning routines, and not just fucking wasting hours of my morning in bed on the phone. And there's no judgment towards anyone. It's just my personal reflection of myself. Yeah, now I don't know how, I wouldn't know how to go back, because it feels like morning time with myself, it's essential. Like, I wouldn't be who I am today if not for my morning practices. If I wouldn't take time to be with myself, with my thoughts, in my meditation, with my journal, working out, like really deeply loving myself and being with myself, and also creating that space in my mind from like, oh, this is my mind and this is the reality. Yeah, it's just really special and really magical. So I hope if you're not experiencing it, you will experience this at some point. Yeah, moving away from this perceived comfort for me. Comfort that creates discomfort. It's like you have to choose your discomfort, and then it's interesting. It's like, I remember for the first time ever seeing on Facebook a friend of mine posting all these healthy meals, different ingredients, and I was like, fuck, how do you have time for that? It felt like a huge thing. And then getting into healthy habits myself, it's like it just becomes part of you. It just becomes who you are. And it's like there's no more mental, I can see squirrel running around. There's no more mental power that you need to exert in order to do something, because it's just who you are. Something else was coming up. Oh, flossing, right? I used to think, fuck, flossing. It's like, how long does it take? I'm like, oh, I cannot be asked. And because I used to have braces, I have behind my teeth, I have wire. And by the way, if you like my teeth, I really recommend my dear friend Jurgita. She's the best dentist in the world. I just love visits to her. It's like a spa. She's in London. If you're curious, I'll drop her link to her account in the profile. But flossing, it's because I have this wire behind my teeth. I have to put the floss literally through the gap, take it out, and then floss. So it's like, it's not an easy flossing as for everyone, that they would just like, and still like it seems like an effort. But for me, I have to like put it through the gap, like it's extra. And because I had such a bad teeth when I was younger, like now it's like I really appreciate it and spend time brushing it. So like I take time, and flossing for me was like, ugh. But then I was doing it because I knew like how much I appreciate and how much fucking crap comes off when you floss. It's disgusting. But because I wholeheartedly wanted to do it, I was doing it. And next thing you know, I'm doing it every night. And it's just like, it's a no-brainer. It takes like, I don't know, seconds. Although it seems like it probably takes a couple of minutes. But what I'm trying to say is like, sometimes we see things bigger than they are. But once we get into habit of doing something, it just becomes part of us. It's a no-brainer. And I don't know where this whole thread initiated from. Oh, the discomfort, and choosing your discomfort. And for some people, probably morning routine would be like, what? Like it would feel uncomfortable moving out of the bed and doing something. This used to feel like a lot for me as well. But then it's like this initial discomfort of change that you go through. And then when you're in that flow, it's like, I don't want to go back. I wouldn't go back. It's like, I wake up early in the morning. I used to wake up 5 now. My time has been moved by the clock and other circumstances. But I'm pushing it back, and I'm thinking if I was to wake up, because I wake up early, say 5 a.m., and I spend a good 3 hours on all the self-work that I do in the morning, on my routines. It's like, it doesn't exist in my reality anymore to just be in bed for 3 hours. Yes, occasionally when it's a weekend and I just want to radically discontinue what I'm doing and like bring in some freshness and change, then I could lounge in bed. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to be with people if I wouldn't create myself in the morning. I mean, I would. It's not a must, but it's a preference that I choose to engage in to be more of who I am. I wonder, I'm closing my eyes and I'm just being, and I wonder how many people would skip or like speed it up, be like fast, fast, fast. It's funny, it's actually because I was re-listening my own video. Oh, and I was just like, I wanted to pick out key concepts or hashtags and things like that. So I put it on the speeds, I think the 2x2. And it was actually amazing. I was like, ooh, I actually sound better when I talk faster. But it's not in my nature, or at least it isn't now. Although when I get very passionate and then I think I need to consciously slow down. So it's beautiful that we have the technology to speed things up. Yeah, I think a lot of us actually speed things up. When I listen to the podcast, I never really speed things up. Unless someone is talking really, really slow, like me now. I don't know if it's slow, you tell me. I don't know if it is slow. Way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Again, as I was laying down for my afternoon non-sleep deep rest relaxation, so many things were flooding through my mind. I was like, I could share this, I could share that. And it's interesting trying to share something in the moment because you don't know what's gonna come. And that's the kind of beauty of it, of like not having a script, just exploring what's surfacing or not surfacing, what's blanking. But at the same time, it's like, it's usually when I hit stop recording, I'm like, oh, I could have shared this, I could have shared that. And I feel like I want to share more of what I'm going through throughout the day. But it's like, how do I capture that when I sit down in this moment to share? unless I'm simply capturing as I go along through the day. Maybe that could be an option. Maybe that could be even more fun to watch, actually. Although it's like I'm saying that, but at the same time it's like I'm not recording this for entertainment. But I guess it would be more fun for me to remember as well if I would just capture the moments through the day and put them into one, although that would mean like loads of short clips from the day and they wouldn't be coherent. Something to feel into, and it's beautiful to be here now because it allows me a space to create in my thinking, to create from my thoughts, to create while I'm speaking, and being witnessed as well. This is something I want to do more. Speak more. Speak out loud what I'm creating, what I want to create.